Situational archetypes. So, once again, let's recap. An archetype is literally the Greek word meaning original pattern or model. Remember, there's only one story, and that original story pretty much is the original pattern or model, aka the archetype. Now, recapping on the definition of an archetype is any story, image, character, symbol that reoccurs through different works, different genres, different cultures, and different time periods. Yep, that's right. Even different cultures are still going to use these same archetype patterns and models to tell that culture's stories. So when you think about it, every story, image, character, symbol repeats itself in all movies, all books, all televisions, even commercials. Now, authors use these archetypes as building blocks when creating a story. And just like with character archetypes, an author can use multiple situational archetypes to craft a good story. Now, the last thing I want to talk about situational archetypes before we get into it is I want you to think of situational archetypes as story or plot archetypes. So, let's get started. So, first thing I want to talk about with situational archetypes is, can you recognize these situational or story archetypes? Take a second, think about it, and then jot down your answers on the left side of your page or the even side of your page. So, as you can see, you probably recognize instantly some of these archetypes. Once upon a time, a prince on a white horse set out on a journey to rescue a beautiful princess from an horrible monster or a fire-breathing dragon. The hero catches the bad guy. Decisions between good and evil are not always easy. And then the ogre or the ugly monster or the unattractive female or the unpopular girl or boy who is in love with the beautiful maiden or the beautiful prince or the star quarterback carries her or him after she has fallen. So you can think of different movies and films and books that have these story or situational archetypes. So the first situational archetype we want to discuss is the quest. This is when the character, typically the hero, searches for someone or some object of important value. And when it's found, they bring it back so it can restore life to a wasted land. For example, Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom. He is sent on a quest to find one of the missing stone tablets that has been stolen from this village, and the village has been wasted away and all their children are gone. He finds it, he restores it, yay, happily ever after. Or the task to save the kingdom or save the world or save the train or save the plane from being hijacked or to win the fair lady or the man. The movie Speed is the task. The main character is tasked with stopping the bomber from bombing or blowing up the bus. Typically in the task, the hero is going to perform some superhuman deed to identify himself in his rightful position. So the quest, the task. Let's keep the party going. The next one is the journey. Now, this is typically where our hero or our heroine goes in search of some truth or information to restore life to their kingdom. It could be an actual literal kingdom or something inside. And we'll get into this more when we talk about our actual heroes unit. It's actually called the hero's journey. So typically in the journey, the hero must descend into a real or psychological place and is forced to discover the blackest truth about himself, herself, usually their faults or shortcomings. Then, once they've done that, they must decide to return to the world of the living and bring prosperity back to the land. So we got the quest, We got the task, we have the journey. Number 4, the initiation. This is the awakening of a teenager or an initiation into adult life. The classic Disney movie, The Princess Diaries. Little Mia, she discovers that she is a princess, and she's literally initiated into learning how to be a princess. In the initiation, the adolescent comes into their own maturity with new awareness, but also new problems, and they also bring a hope for the community. Typically in the initiation, story type is kind of coupled with the ritual, and that's an actual ceremony that marks a new stage. So, real life rituals, weddings, funerals, coronations. So, we got the ritual, the initiation, the journey, the task, the quest, and now we move on to the fall. The fall is the descent from a higher to a lower state of being. The characters experience a loss of innocence, or literally a loss period. Katniss Everdeen in the first Hunger Games, when she loses her young compatriot, that is a loss. So up until that point, she was feeling good, she was doing good, so she left her paradise or her happy place, typically because of something that she did wrong. The biggest one of all is the battle between good and evil. I don't need to say anything more about that. It's where good triumphs over the opposing forces of evil despite great odds. And sometimes those great odds is that at some point it looks like evil is going to win. But we know that good will always win. And that keeps mankind hopeful, giving us a bit of optimism. Death and rebirth. There's nothing good than watching your hero die or supposedly die. If you've seen the recent Marvel comic movie, The Black Panther, King T'Challa literally goes through a death and a rebirth. So it has the similarities between the cycle of nature and life. So morning and springtime represent birth, youth, rebirth. Evening and winter suggests old age or death. So, or for example, in Moana, at the beginning of the story, you have Tafiti. Her heart is taken and she turns into Taka. And so you have this old age, or this death, this winter, or this dying of all the nature. And then Moana puts Tafiti's heart back, and bam, rebirth. Nature versus the mechanic world, or the machine world. This is where a story where natural is good and technology is bad. So think of The Matrix. Think of Avatar. Those are classic stories where nature is revered and honored, and technology, or the machines, are trying to come in and ruin everything that has nature. The ultimate sacrifice. This is typically probably going to be with your hero journey or your quest or even your ritual. It's where the hero makes an ultimate sacrifice. The decision is always voluntary, and typically the main character literally sees it as the only way out in order to save everyone. Now we come to some, not necessarily story archetypes, but definitely some situations that you want to pay attention to. The first one is the supernatural intervention. This is where the gods or special forces intervene on the side of the hero or the heroine to assist them in their task, their quest, their journey, their initiation, or their ritual. Cinderella, what we're going to be reading next. The fairy godmother is a supernatural interventionist. She comes in and she literally helps Cinderella be able to go to the ball. The next one is kind of family conflict. So that's where you see dual opposites. Typically one is good and one is bad. Or you may have a mentor who is loved and respected more than the parent. Or you have one sibling is esteemed higher than the other. So one sibling is good and righteous and pious, and the other sibling is mean and envious and full of malice, and just horrible. And so that's family dynamic conflict. So any movies or television shows where you literally have the good sibling or the bad sibling, that's all about family conflict. The next one is more of an object. It's the magic weapon. It's the weapon the hero needs in order to complete the quest, or complete the task, or complete the ritual, or complete the journey. In the Princess Diaries, another Princess Mia, she literally has her own magic weapon, and that is her butler's limo that literally takes her up this insurmountable hill that she can never drive up, so that she can complete her initiation of being the princess of Grimaldi. Or Harry Potter with his wand, Dorothy with her red slippers. And just another note, it's usually given by the mentor figure, and it can only be used by the hero. Nobody else can wield it the way the hero or the heroine can. The next thing you have is the unhealable wound. It's a wound that's either physical or psychological. It can never be healed fully, and it indicates a loss of innocence, and it always aches, and it typically drives the sufferer to desperate measures. In the novel 13 Reasons Why, the main character, she suffers an horrible slamming incidents where they're talking about a body part, and everybody starts talking about it. That was a loss of innocence for her. It never healed completely. It always tormented her, and eventually the main character, she ends up killing herself because of the mounting ramifications that one event had. So that is pretty much it for situational, aka story archetypes. So now what I want you to do is, I want you to, on your even side of the page, write down each situational archetype, and then find me an example in television or in film or in something that you've read, similar to what we did with your character archetypes worksheet, except now you're just going to do it on paper. All right, happy story archetyping.